Hey ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Time to do more set review for Armies of Myth. This time we're going to be talking about the Wild Shard. The Wild Shard is interesting to say the least. I have a tough time wrapping my head around ramp sometimes. We'll get into it. So the first card we're going to talk about here is Pupil of Creation. I'm looking over this way because that's where the monitor is that the card is shown on. Pupil of Creation is a 1-cost, 1 wild threshold. Good lord, I wanted to say Sapphire because we just got done talking about Sapphire. 1 wild threshold, 1/1 troop. Obviously, this is not going to be a card you're going to drop on turn 1 because its effect doesn't take place until you get cards out that are 5 or greater. So obviously this card is geared towards, with Puck the Dreamer and some of the other cards that synergize well with playing cards at a 5 cost or greater. The thing about this card here is is it a good card? Is this card consistent enough on what it's going to do to be playable in Constructed? Remember when I say Constructed, I'm talking about tier 1, 1.5 constructed, maybe tier 2. So you got to get, cards being played of 5 or greater, so you're going to have to stack your hand with, 5 cost or greater troops, get Puck, Eye, whatever you want to put in there. And then to get the one-shot ability, you got to have at least 8 resources. When I read it, I just oh man, that's a whole hell of a lot. But then I always forget about ramp. Green is all about ramp. I just don't know the Wild Shard well enough. Is there enough ramp out there? If Chlorophilia was what it used to be, I think it would be awesome. And I think with this new set here, I think we probably have enough ramp to maybe make this a viable option, but time will tell, as everything will. So we'll see. I like the card. I like the art. I'd love to get this in a full art card, which I'll probably try. I'll probably try to get as much as I can in full art, but anyway, moving on. The next one here we have is Heart of Wrathwood. And Heart of Wrathwood is a 6 casting cost, triple wild threshold. It is a plant troop. It's 0/0, and it says this has +1/+1 in all zones for each permanent resource you have. When this dies, create a seed pod for each point of defense this has and put them into play. So each permanent resource, they're not talking threshold. So this is the numbers on the side, each permanent resource you have. Not temporary resources, but they have to be permanent resources. So I don't think this is actually as good as it sounds. But, I could be wrong. It is one of those plant things. Sorry about that. It is a plant, but I think this is a card that limited play. I don't know if this is going to find Constructed all too well. What are my notes here say? It says, so on curve, this should be a 6/6 for 6, right? Unless you ramp into him, like I said. So on curve, it's okay, but outside of that, I don't know if it's going to be that great. Next one here is Guru of the Wounded Petal. I like the name Guru. It's a 1 casting cost, single wild threshold, 4/3 troop, which seems bonkers. And it says, play this if 2 or more troops enter play under your control this turn. Alright, so the first thing I think of is Run to the Litter. Run to the Litter is a 1 casting cost. Put 2 battle hoppers into play. And then you drop this. So this could be a turn 2 viable option if you have those 2 cards in your opening hand. So a turn 2, 4/3, I think that's pretty strong. I don't think there's anything to complain about that at all. Next one here we have is Nature's... Man, I can't even read my own writing sometimes. Nature's Resolve. 2 casting costs, 1 wild threshold, a basic action. It says target a troop you control. All your troops that share a trait with it in all zones get this can be interrupted. Seems okay. That's just it. It seems okay. I don't know if this is. God, you could pair this with some really cool stuff and and have those troops become uninterrupted, but I don't know. Like I said, it just seems okay. My notes here is not bad at all. This can synergize with most anything, which yes, it could because it's talking about traits. Draft probably not so much. Like I didn't say that, but like I mentioned here, sealed for sure, constructed maybe. Next one we have here is Carnosaurus. Carnosaurus is a 2 casting cost, double wild threshold 2/2 dinosaur troop, and it says when this enters play, you may have this battle a target opposing troop. When a troop control dies, gain 2 health. So on curve, it's okay. You're probably gonna, I would say you're most likely probably gonna trade down than trade up with this, or you're not. Definitely, probably, rarely trade up unless you're playing this against somebody who's playing like an Argo deck or burn speed deck or whatever. Other than that, it's just going to trade straight across or trade down. You're never probably going to be able to kill something with this and keep it alive, would be my guess. Next card we have on deck is Scorn of Oberon. I think that's how you pronounce that one there. Where are you at? Oh, I lost ya. There he is. Scorn of Oberon. Oberon? However you want to pronounce it. Oberon. I don't care how you pronounce it. I'm going to say it that way. This is a pretty solid card. 3 casting cost, double wild threshold, quick action. And you can do all 3 of these. Destroy up to 1 target artifact. Destroy up to 1 constant. And revert up to 1 target troop. I think this is a very solid sideboard card in any format, considering you can do either one of those there. So why wouldn't you want to sideboard it if you are going to be in the Wild Shard? Next one here is Ageless Troubadour. I think that's how you want to say that. Troubadour. I don't know how you want to say it. He's playing a really. I know that instrument. I just can't remember the name of it. So I think I had looked it up. But Ageless Troubadour is a 3 casting cost, 1 wild threshold, 2/2 troop. He is an elf, so he does synergize with the elves. It says at the start of your turn, gain 1 temporary resource for each elf you control. I think this is an okay card. This will definitely play into the Pupil of Creation style decks, where you want to get those resources quickly to play those 5 casting costs or higher cards. So I think it's an okay card, and definitely going to be useful in that particular situation. Next we have here is Rhythmic Spiritualist. Rhythmic Spiritualist is a 3 casting cost, double wild threshold, 3/4 troop. And it says at the end of your turn, you may put target troop from your graveyard into your deck. If you do, this troop gets +2/+2 and cost -2. Face value, this sounds really good. The problem is you put those troops into your deck, the chance of you drawing them again are negligible. I mean, it can happen, sure, but you can't do it on a consistent basis. So I think the card text on this particular card here is irrelevant. It being a 3/4 card for 3 is probably better than its actual card text. Its card text is kind of a bonus if that actually happens to you. So it's a decent card in limited. Probably not going to be so much in constructed. My notes here said never really been a fan of these cards. Sure, it's good if you can redraw. I think this would be a limited. I think this may be limited only where your chances are greater because you have less cards in your deck. So that's my opinion on that one. Next one here we have is Druid Echo Shaper, or Exo Shaper, how you want to pronounce it, Echo or Exo. 4 casting costs, 1 wild threshold, and OO troop. I should stop saying OO because they're not O's, they're zeros. Anyway, this has +X, where X is the highest cost among troops you control, and its one-shot ability for 0 resources. The troops in your hand gets +2/+2 and cost +2. So, yeah, okay, but I don't know. I don't know if I don't like this card at all. Do you use the one-shot ability? I mean, do you want to raise the resource cost of all the cards in your hand? Yeah, it'll help out, but I think this is one of those cards that's just going to be okay. I'll take it because I have to. Next one on deck here is Tatiana's Majesty. It's a 5 casting cost, single wild threshold, basic action. It is Socketable Major. And it says, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, create a copy of your revealed troop with the actions gem and put it into play. Put the revealed cards into your deck. So I think that's okay. I'm still really curious to see how well these cards are going to synergize when it comes into, are they going to be constructed worthy? Are they going to be limited only play? The thing about limited is these are rares, so you're not going to have probably more than one So, you know, take advantage of it. So we'll see. I still want to see if these things make their way to constructed. I think it'd be cool if they did. We'll definitely have to be, you know, testing some of that stuff out, and I'm sure, you know, people are already doing that. Me, unfortunately, I'm not. I'm just still going through the cards. Granted, I've known they've been out for a while, but what do we have next here? Crocosaur. Crocosaur is a 5 casting cost, triple wild, threshold 5/6. He is a dinosaur troop, and it says when this enters play, you may have this battle 2 target opposing troops. I think this is an okay card. In limited, it is a definite bomb, and it's in a way to get rid of opponent's troops. It's a removal card. Even if it dies, you know, you're still probably going to remove those 2 target troops just to get them out of your way. So regardless, I think this is a decent card. If I opened up on it, I would probably pick it. Next one we have here is going to be... what is going on here? Might have missed something. I don't know. Oh, I was writing myself some notes here, and I was talking about ramp. If you can get this out early, I said what cards do we have for ramp just in this set, and we have the Ageless Troubadour, the Sky Dancer, and the Lyricalist, which I haven't got to yet. We'll come back to that. Next one we have here is a very debatable card when it first was revealed, and it's Balthasar, I think that's how you pronounce that. 6 casting cost, double wild, threshold 1/2 troop, and its card text is where the debate came in, and because it's like a rhyme, and it says when Balthasar enters play, gain health equal to the highest defense amongst troops you control. Draw cards equal to the highest. Oh, they changed it. This used to be like a rhyme. Okay, so never mind then. So anyway, when he enters play, gain health equal to the highest defense amongst troops you control. Draw cards equal to the highest attack amongst troops you control. That makes me kind of sad because this was a really interesting card the way that it read when it first came out. And some of you probably know what it, remember what it said. I think I have it on one of my videos. I'll try to pull that card up so you can see the old card text. I wonder why they changed it. Probably because it caused too much debate and people didn't know exactly how it was going to work. Next one here we have is Dynamite. 7 casting cost, a double wild basic action. Says target troop gets +5/+5 crush, and when this dies, create a Smashadon and put it into play. A Smashadon is a pretty cool troop. It is a 5/5 with crush, so not horrible. Giving something +5/+5. Granted, it's basic action. Well, I don't know why it couldn't be a quick action at 7 cost. I don't know, maybe because it gives you a 5/5 troop when it dies, but it's a pretty neat card. It's probably not going to be real constructed worthy. It's going to be more, limited play worthy there. Next one we have is Smash to the Ground. It's an X cost, double wild threshold. It says target troop gets +X/+X this turn. Now this here I think is going to be a card. No reason this couldn't see constructed play at all if you're going to be in these colors. Now whether this color is going to be in top tier, it did make it into a couple decks from the VIP tournaments from before, so you never know. But again, this is just straight up X. Your troop gets +X/+X this turn, and it's uncommon. So you might be able to find at least a couple of these in limited play too. So I think this is all around a really good card. Next we have a Storm Drummer, 1 casting cost, 1/1 troop, and it has Prophecy, and that reads, when this enters play, the next troop in your deck gets, when this troop enters play, you may have it battle target opposing troop. Let's just hope it gets onto a good troop and not something that's pretty weak. This would be a good card to synergize with, some of the prismatic cards that allow you to see the top card, or not the prismatic cards, a couple of the sapphire cards that allow you to see the top card of your deck. There's a prismatic card too that allows you to do that too. What is the name of that one? I just talked about him too. He's a wolf. Windsmoke Mystic or something like that, I think his name is. He allows you to see the top card of your deck. Or maybe he just allows you to play it. I'm not sure. Anyway, the next one here we have is Lullaby. A Lullaby is a 2 casting cost, single wild, quick action. It says revert all attacking troops. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and by those troops this turn. So it's basically a blinding light in green. Next we have is Sylvan Performer. Sylvan Performer is a 2 casting cost, single wild threshold 2/2 troop. She is also an elf. When it says when you play a card with cost 5 or greater, draw a card. So again, if you're in that big green, I'm going to call it the big green deck, so this will definitely synergize well with that. You can draw cards. There's not a lot of card draw in green, and this will just help you out there. And I think maybe that's what they're going for, is to get green maybe into constructed more, just so you can have the card draw. I think that's one of its biggest weaknesses from before, is that there just wasn't enough card draw. There wasn't enough ways to get the stuff you needed out of your deck if you needed to look for an answer. What do we have next here? Rites of the Tranquil Dream. And you are right here, and this is a 3 casting cost, single wild threshold quick action. It says reveal the top 6 cards of your deck. Revealed troops get +1/+1. Put a revealed troop into your hand. Put the remaining cards into your deck. So I think this is an okay card. On my notes here, it says I'm not sure how I feel about this card. Again, this card could hit or miss. And that's true. That's why I say it's an okay card. It could hit real good. It could hit pretty bad. If you reveal 4 quick actions and 2 resources, well, then it's going to miss, and there's 3 resources down the drain. Granted, it's quick action, so you probably want to play it on the end of your opponent's turn. If you have resources to spare, you don't want to play this in any of your main phases, obviously. So again, it could hit or miss. Next one we have here is Sky Dancer, 3 casting cost, double wild. It's a 1/4 troop. It is also an elf. Now this one here is weird. His art. Is the art upside down, or is he hanging from a tree? It's very hard to tell. I mean, you could either be like the sun on the background. It's hard to tell. I think the art's upside down, but again, there's a tree right above him, so he could be hanging from the tree. But if he's got Sky Guard, if he's hanging from the tree, he's actually pointing the arrow down. So there's something weird about that card. Anyway. At the start of your turn, if you have a card with cost 5 or greater in your hand, you can gain 1 temporary resource. So it's kind of I guess you could call it another puck, in a way. Next one here we have is Rune Ear Elite. He is a 4 casting cost, single wild threshold 2/2 troop. He's got Crush, and it says when a troop enters play under your control, this gets +2/+2 this turn. So obviously you can see this is going to synergize well with Surprise Runt Gang, where it creates 3 battle hoppers, and this is going to be a 6/6. So not a bad card. I think Corey spoiled this one on his Twitter feed when it came out, and I immediately thought that, and he actually tweeted the exact same thing. So it's not bad. Not the best, but if you can imagine if you had a couple of these dudes out, and you dropped Surprise Runt Gang, I think that would be okay. Next one we have here is Snarl Brute. Snarl Brute, 7 casting cost, single wild, 6/6 with Spell Shield. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's a definite limited card all the way. Stinkhorn Soup. Very interesting name. Basically, he's eating the Shroomkin's head, if you look at the art. And the Shroomkin is missing an arm. He looks terrified, and they're eating his brains, basically. So anyway, it's a 1 casting cost, single wild threshold, quick action, ready target troop. It gets lethal this turn. I think it's a fine card, unlimited. Why not use it? Maybe even constructed, because I'm on board with it. Next one here we have is Vine Lash, 1 casting cost, 1 wild threshold. It is a quick action. Deal 4 damage to target troop with flight. Again, sure, why not? Another decent card. This, and I have a note written here. It says, "Is green trying to be pushed?" Maybe green is trying to be pushed a little bit into constructed, since it was very, very, very limited in the past. So maybe, you never know. What we have next? We have Nibbling Skirmisher. It's a 1 casting cost, single wild threshold 1/1 troop, and for 3 resources, this gets +2/+2 this turn. So this is kind of like that chicken card. Is it the Roostosaur, where you could kind of do that, but he exhausted. So if you have a lot of resources, you can just kind of pump him up once. He's a 3/3. Pump him up again. He's going to be a 5/5. So I could see this card being okay and limited for sure. Maybe not so much in constructed. I don't know. We'll see. Next one here is Stirring Oration. And that is a 2 casting cost, single wild threshold quick action. It says target troops get +2/+2 this turn. Target troop gets +2/+2 this turn. If you control a card with cost 5 or greater, that troop gets an additional +3. So definitely a card you want to play later in the game when you control somebody that is 5 cost or greater. So then that troop will actually get +5/+5 for just 2. So I could probably see this maybe in constructed play. You know, it's one of those cards. It's kind of like it's on the border, I think, you know, of being constructed worthy and maybe not, but we'll see. Next one here is Lyricist. I think that's how you pronounce that. 2 casting costs, single wild threshold, 1/2 troop, and at the start of your turn, gain 1 temporary resource. So again, this is the other ramp card that I talked about there. Next one here we have is Red Fur Ranger. 2 casting costs, single wild threshold. It's a 2/2 troop. It has prophecy, and its prophecy reads, when this enters play, the next troop in your deck gets crush. Okay, but if the next troop in your deck is a 1/1, it's not going to matter too much. You're not really going to be crushing everything. So again, it's one of those cards, it's like, maybe it's a hit or miss. I'm not going to be on board with this card at all. Again, unless you're playing with the top card of your deck revealed so you can see what the hell is going on. Next one here we have a Snarling Ambusher. I have my note says nope. So let's take a look. 3 casting costs, double wild threshold, 3/2. Quick troop. Nope. Nah, I don't think that's good. Any quick troop that doesn't have a come into play effect, I don't see any reason why it needs to be a quick troop. You know, you're going to chump block to buy yourself an extra turn maybe, but that's about it. Next one here we have is Merry Minstrels. Is that how you pronounce that one? Where are you at? Merry Minstrels. Minstrels? Yeah, something like that. Minstrels. Anyway, 3 casting costs, single wild threshold, 3/2 troop. She or them are elves. Has Elf Allegiance. It says when this enters play, create a wild shard and put it in your hand. So if you have it, and you need another wild shard, play it down. So it could be one of those resource fetch resources. You know, kind of like those other things that fetch other things. So maybe it's not really a fetch resource. It's just a resource creator. Yeah. Next one, Sylvan Duet. Sylvan Duet is a 4 casting cost, single wild threshold, basic action, and you can gain 2 permanent resources for your next turn. What else does this? Nothing really does this other than what's the artifact card that you can tap it and it'll gain you a permanent resource? Surge Mechanism. Kind of like a Surge Mechanism. I think I'd rather play that than this, though. So this is just a one-time deal where that you can keep doing over and over again. I think that's only 2 cost for 1. This is 4/2 in single shot unless you have 4 of them, but I'm going to pass on this one too. Next one here is a Return to Soil. This, I think, is a really good card. It's a 4 casting cost, single wild threshold, destroy target artifact or constant draw card. Decent sideboard card all day long. If you can't be on board with this as a sideboard, just use it as a draw card then. Granted, it's an expensive draw card, but a limited all day long. Next one we have here is Hemp Seed Dryad. And beautiful card art. Not to mention the female in there, but outside of that, I mean, no, I'm just kidding. Good card art. I like it a lot. 4 casting costs, single wild threshold, 2/3 troop. There's another card that is I think that's how you pronounce it, is Fae. Anyway, it's a little expensive. It's a target. It's a 1-shot, is revert another target troop. So it's not that great of a card, but you know, it's going to be one of your last picks, 27th pick probably in draft or something like that. Next one here we have is Nelblin Treeguard. 4 casting cost, single wild, 4/3 troop, no card text, is an elf, so it's all right for 4 costs. At least it's only 1 threshold, so you know you might play it, you might not in limited. Predatory Prey. This is a 5 casting cost, double wild, basic action. It says target troop you control gets +2/+2 this turn. That troop battles an opposing troop. So removal. Use it as a removal card. It's really an expensive removal card, but you know it could be one of those cards that gets rid of a board stalemate. Multiple uses there. Limited card probably only. You know. Next one we have here is, what is that? Gossamer. I'm going to say Gossamer's Tears. 5 casting cost, 1 wild threshold constant. It says when this enters play, gain 6 health. At the start of your turn, gain 1 health. No, I mean, but really, I don't know. This would be something I'd probably never play. Gain 6 health. At the start of your turn, gain 1 health. Maybe if you want to combine this, you know, throw this into the 2-pack deck, maybe, you know, because you can be gaining additional health, so you're never gonna run out of health to be able to draw your cards. I would pass. I'm gonna pass on that one though. Next one here we have is Caribor Healer. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Caribor. I don't know. This doesn't sound right. If somebody said it to me, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's how you say that. Anyway, 5 casting cost, double wild, 4/4 troop, and says when it's entered play, gain 4 health. So it's okay as a 4/4 body. The 4 health is just kind of okay. Thanks a lot for doing that for me, but I'm going to use it more for its 4/4 body. Next one here we have is Rot Root Enchanter, 5 casting costs, single wild, 3/5, Skyguard and Steadfast. I think it's a decent limited card. It's got a big behind on it, you know, for 5, and it can do some decent damage. It's got Steadfast and it's got Skyguard, so I think it's a decent card all around. The last one we have written down here is Wrathwood Larch. This is a card that I'm totally against. I don't like this at all. I mean, granted, the body of the card is great. You know, it's a 6 cost 4/6, so it can definitely block a lot of stuff without dying. But its card text is for 2. You can discard this, and you can create a wild shard and put it in your hand. Nothing I'll ever do. So that is the wild shard from Armies of Myth. I don't want to say it's lackluster. It's still, I mean, it's getting there, I think. It'd be interesting to see what some people come up with. Like I said, I'm not a big wild shard player. Maybe I should experiment more with it. But again, it's just, I think, you know, there are some pretty smart players out there, and it's just not finding its way into VIP. So I'm really gonna be interested to see what the VIP decks look like after the set releases, to see what's out there. Now it probably will be a little skewed, maybe, since it's gonna be the first one, and people may be a little timid to actually try it, since it's not gonna be out that long before that VIP tournament comes out, or before the VIP tournament starts. Since we're supposed to have this set for almost 2 full weeks before the VIP tournament, now it's going to be probably 2 weeks at best, maybe. So we'll see what happens. The next shard we're going to talk about is Prismatic, and that is a very interesting. Those are interesting cards altogether. So other than that, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to let me know something in the comments about this particular shard, maybe some of your favorite cards, let me know. Other than that, if you want to see more of these videos, click subscribe down below, and we'll have another video for you soon.